You're listening to the Life with Old Dogs podcast, and I'm your host, Dawn Mimnaugh, primary caretaker of all of our wonderful senior German Shepherds right here at Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. And I have today Marc Halprin from Dr. HempDog. How are you today, Marc?
I'm well. Nice to be with you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're excited to have you on this podcast. Marc is here today. First of all, we are huge advocates for Dr. HempDog CBD oil. We absolutely love it. We use it here for our residents at Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary for different situations. Of course, I've blustered on and on about a product that we use for Nona that helps with her anxiety, for Prince with his mobility issues and arthritis, of course. And Marc is going to tell us all about Dr. HempDog. So, Marc, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah. It's really lovely to be here with you, just to start.
Thank you.
We see, you guys are very active on the internet. And so I get to see videos and photos when we check in with you guys. And you guys are doing incredible work. And it's an honor to be able to be in your community and to be able to help support the animals that make up your community. And we just are thrilled about it. And we love what you guys do.
Thank you. We feel the same. Likewise. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, that's why I think we became part of each other's communities. The first thing I should say is Dr. HempDog is what makes Dr. HempDog different than, other companies out there. Everyone at this point has seen CBD. Not everyone's used it for their dogs. Some people have dogs that are newer, that they're kind of entertaining the idea. CBD is a cannabinoid, and it occurs in hemp in larger amounts, and it's an anti-inflammatory, and it has anxiety relieving properties, and it works on our bodies in a very natural way. Our bodies have an endocannabinoid receptor system built into it, and our brain actually manufactures cannabinoids, which is really cool. Very similar to the ones that grow in hemp. And hemp has all the cannabinoids in nature. They all grow there. It's pretty cool, and we'll get into that more. But our product is very high quality. So not only does it have CBD in it, but it has a lot of other compounds that are natural in the hemp plant that are in higher amounts that enhance the anti-inflammatory and anti-anxiety properties of CBD. So when you're looking for CBD, you want to make sure you have a product that has the whole plant in it. In the whole plant, those molecules should be at a higher amount. These other cannabinoids like CBG, CBC, CBDV, a few others that we can get into. And then there's terpenes, which give the plant its flavor and smell. And those have medicinal value as well. And we can get into that more. But there's a difference between CBD out there. And our product is of the highest quality you possibly can get on the planet. And the way that we can demonstrate this is every company should have a third-party lab work that they send out to a respected lab in the industry that has a QR code. If you scan it, it takes you to the lab's website, not the company who's trying to tell you what's in the product's website. That's a good way for security to know, and make sure the companies that you're buying products on, their name is on the lab work, because you'll see a lot of times it isn't. And a significant part of the industry is not honoring what they should be doing now and who knows why. Maybe they have something to hide. Maybe they're just not knowledgeable. But those are all reasons that you should be skeptical of doing business with them. There are other good products out there like ours, but there's no one that has a better product in the world than we do. So I just want to start by clarifying that, because I know when we talk about CBD and cannabinoids and hemp medicinally for animals, that's something that a lot of people don't know. And so I just want to make sure that people understand what makes us different is there's a lot more to our product than just CBD. And that's why it's so much more effective than these other products that people have used. Every day people say, wow, why does your product work so much better than what we're using? And there's nothing better than hearing that from a veterinarian, which happens all the time for us. So we love that. Dr. HempDog was founded in 2015. I had a dog named Coool who was extremely special, just this incredible soul. We just had an incredible life together. This kind of dog, he was such a gentleman and so well-mannered. He was an athlete, but he didn't need a leash ever. He literally would go, he was like a human. Say, hey, cool, I need you to sit here. No problem. I'll sit here. I'll look handsome, and people will come over and say hi to me. But he always got his exercise. And he's very fit. And he lived to 14. And at 11, the vets, because he was struggling with mobility, said, get ready to put him down. This is in 2014. So brought him to all of the best people that we could find. He was at Colorado State, got the red carpet treatment there. We were looking at doing stem cell for him. We were looking at doing whatever other injections or anything we could possibly do to help him with mobility. And he basically had osteoarthritis. He had more aggressive and quicker onset than you typically see. In retrospect, it was a gift to the canine community because that set us on a path of not only helping Coool live a much longer, more successful life, but also that knowledge led to being able to help many other animals. And his sacrifice led to that. And now I'm really proud to say that we have the best product on the market, hands down. It's easy to demonstrate because you just look at our lab work and you compare it to anyone else out there. It's better. And we're pioneering new products in the industry for solving very difficult problems for the veterinary community and for animals. And we've got next generation products that are ahead of the industry, and we're very excited about.
So excited. We're excited too.
Yeah. And it's one of the bonuses of just being in this industry early. We're in Colorado. We have incredible relationships. It's a nice place to be. This is really ground zero for cannabinoids. And CBD, like I said earlier, is a cannabinoid. It's one of the most, well-known cannabinoids. One of two. The other one would be THC, which is what people use recreational marijuana for typically. THC is something that's really interesting because in lower amounts, in much, 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 much lower amounts than humans use for recreational cannabis purposes, it's actually very beneficial and actually critical to helping all the other cannabinoids work properly. And that's something we can get into as well. But having the right amount is a bonus, but it's not a psychoactive amount. It's a very little amount. And I'd love to explain more about that and what the differences between humans and animals, and dogs especially, are. Maybe we can talk about horses and cats too, because I'm sure people out there would love to know that too. But they're similar, but a little tiny bit different, but similar. We all have endocannabinoid systems in our bodies. It's a natural system that allows for homeostasis in our bodies. Every mammal has an endocannabinoid receptor system. Our brain manufactures cannabinoids. The main one it manufactures is anandamide. Anandamide is a natural molecule our brain's producing to make us feel good. Homeostasis. And it is basically helping with our mood. If you have a runner's high, that's anandamide. After you work out at the gym, that's anandamide. Now, CBD, interestingly, secondarily to its pain relieving, inflammation relieving, and anxiety relieving properties, one of the things it does is allows anandamide that was produced by our brain to stay in our system longer. And that's one of the things it does. It's really interesting. But this science is biology and it's fact. It's not pot for dogs. We don't really like that phrase.
Mhm.
We like that our product is not psychoactive. It doesn't make dogs sleep. And if you have a product that's doing that, one of two things is happening. Either it's a lot of people say, oh, this is really good plants and from this company and everything. Yeah, the plant and the genetics and the growing part is only half the battle. What most people, and even people that run companies in this industry, don't understand is the extraction is the
Yes.
magic. And the magic, our product is coming out of $1.5 million customized machine that actually there's customizations to it that no one else has because we were in it earlier. We're part of a conglomerate group of people who got into the industry really early that are ahead. And we have this machinery and we've never changed what we make. We've always had our product's the same. If you look at any of our lab work going back to 2015, it's all the same. Our genetics are exceptional and our traction's exceptional. So, that's important to understand. And the endocannabinoid system interacts with cannabinoids. And
Mhm.
so THC, when people use it for recreational reasons, it interacts with the endocannabinoid system. Actually, there's particular receptors in the endocannabinoid system that THC will interact with. Now, CBD interacts with it as well. Now, there's other cannabinoids called CBG and CBC, which are major anti-inflammatories most people don't know about. And they're in large amounts in our product. And that's one of the advantages our product has for inflammation over others. It has higher levels of these cannabinoids, which not only make the CBD work better, because there's a dynamic way that these are working on the endocannabinoid system. CBD on its own, isolated, does not really work.
Right.
And in order to get an effect from it, you have to use a really big amount of it. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If a human takes a tincture of CBD and it's an isolate, like just pure CBD, people say, oh, pure CBD, that's what you want. No, you want a full spectrum CBD that has all these other cannabinoids in it that actually make the CBD work properly. Isolated CBD, the reason it's so interesting, when you take it, you feel this rush after 30 seconds, and it feels almost like a caffeine buzz coming on. And the reason that happens is because you're shocking your endocannabinoid system because you have this one isolated molecule. The endocannabinoid system doesn't like that. It
Mhm.
wants what's called full spectrum.
Right.
Because if anyone knows anything about protein, you eat certain amino acids together to form protein. There's certain foods, if you combo them, you'll be able to get protein. A lot of people who are vegetarians understand this, but it's dynamic. There's 12 amino acids and certain combos create protein. And so in cannabinoids, it's similar,
Mhm.
but it's even more dynamic.
So
And
I just wanted to stop for a second here. So
sure.
so you're saying you want to go with full spectrum CBD and not the isolate because I see that a lot online. And unfortunately, people who are trying to do best for their dog who has mobility issues, arthritis, anxiety, or whatever, they're just grabbing CBD because they heard it was fantastic and they're going to use it. But they need to know full spectrum is the way to go. Correct?
Yes. And there's one more option that is being promoted as good as well. And listen, is it gonna do harm? I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if it's just isolated CBD and it's clean, no, it's not going to do harm. But is it going to work properly? No, it's not. And that's science. I mean, the science is there. One of the things early on that I discovered in this industry, and people say, "Oh, the science isn't there. The science isn't there." Well, if you go to our website, you can access every major study that's been done on cannabinoids in animals in the history of information. And there's about 75 of them, overwhelmingly showing that cannabinoids are safe for animals when dosed properly. Overwhelming. The
When dosed
science is
properly.
there. The science is there when dosed properly.
Mhm.
And even when not dosed properly, you have to dose so much more than you would imagine in order to have a side effect. Um, our product won't cause. I just want to finish the thought on the sleep or the lethargy, if you get that out of a product, and this is important, especially with senior dogs, to explain, one of two things is happening. One is there was a poor extraction, or it's just a poor product. And a lot of the times that's a poor extraction. So that's one thing. You may not have a good quality product. The second thing is, which we see with our products sometimes, is those first few days when that body that has now received that dose is undergoing a homeostasis for the first time of the endocannabinoid system. We'll see dog takes the dose. We recommend dosing with food, and we can get into that more, but they take a dose in the morning at 10, let's say they eat at 9 a.m. They take the dose and they're hanging out 30 minutes later, sitting in the sun. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, my dog's out. That stuff put him to sleep. Well, what will happen is almost like clockwork, 15, 20 minutes later, the dog wakes up, is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, alert, big-eyed, and all of a sudden feels better. And that's the homeostasis happening for the first time in the dog's body. Also, what can happen there is now the dog's body is telling it, hey, this feels good. And we're actually experiencing relief and we can heal. So you need to shut down for a little bit so we can maximize our healing. And after a week or two, you'll see that there is no lethargy. But the lethargy is caused because the body is saying to the dog's brain, hey, this is good. Let's shut down for a little bit so we can work on healing. So our product doesn't cause lethargy. It causes relief. And sometimes that relief will allow the body, it's like getting a better night's sleep and feeling good, better when you wake up in the morning instead of like you hadn't slept because you didn't have a fruitful sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that makes sense for you and your audience.
That does. Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like to me. I have to
Is that
say,
what you've experienced with your team?
not really.
Okay.
No, not really. And Nona in particular, after I give her her CBD oil, I actually have her in my office behind a gate, and I tell her that that's her chill out time. I'm letting her magic medicine work, and she has to chill out. And yeah, after about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, she will come out of my office, definitely in a more approachable state of mind. But
so that's just so you know, the product she is on actually is different than the statements I just made, because that's a special product that's intended for relaxation for dogs that need more relaxation, and they need a tool to help them relax more. So that actually has other compounds in it that are in addition to our normal compounds that are helping with relaxation. So that actually is intended to do that. Okay. And if actually you use more of a dose with that, you will get the dog to potentially sleep easier.
Yeah. Well, she definitely does sleep more than she ever has.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, she definitely. Yeah, she's getting a solid night's sleep, and for sure she did not in the beginning. So she's more relaxed and
when you say in the beginning, you mean when you first had her?
Yeah, not even just in the very beginning. For several months actually. So it was beyond the time that I felt like she should have been here and been decompressed. Usually it takes them about 2 to 3 months till they get into, okay, I'm here, I live here now, and this is our routine. It went beyond that for Nona, where she really struggled. But the product that we have her on, yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, when we do, I want to know how long it took for you to see that there was an effect for her where you could start to really open her mind up to dealing with some of the anxiety issues she had, so she could kind of recognize that, hey, everything's cool. Like I don't need to be on edge all the time. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in knowing about that when we get into that. But that is a specialty product that's new, that there's nothing in the world like it that's specifically designed for anxiety. And is stronger than our normal product for anxiety. And I'm really looking forward to talking to you with your community about that. On this during this conversation, but I know there's so much to talk about, and you were asking me about Dr. HempDog and how it started. So if you want me to finish that, and then we can move into those other topics or whatever you think is correct for you.
Yeah. Well, you were just talking about you were just talking about full spectrum, and then you were talking
Oh,
about
broad spectrum, right?
broad spectrum.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is important for everyone to know. It's real quick, but just check this off your list. So there's isolate, there's full spectrum, and there's broad spectrum. So
Okay.
broad spectrum has other cannabinoids and terpenes in it. Typically, it should, but it's missing the THC. And the THC missing does it work? Yeah, it works better than the isolate, but it doesn't work nearly as well unless you have that little tiny bit of THC. THC, as a matter of fact, if you're treating cancer, you need THC. You can't treat cancer with cannabinoids unless there's a little tiny bit of THC, but not enough to get the dog to make any psychoactive impact on the dog. And this is very easy. It's demonstrated, and there's been studies for dogs specifically on this. So we know the dosing of when the dog starts to get intoxicated from THC, and it's way higher than the amount that's in our product. There's a trace amount in our product that makes our product work light years ahead of in effectiveness compared to a broad spectrum product. And that science is very clear, and it's well accepted now. So if people are interested,
it would be above, what is it? The THC would be above 0.3%. That's too much. That would be toxic.
Yeah. For a dog, it really starts to become intoxicating at around 0.7, 0.8%. And even then, it's not really causing any issues, but we do have people, dogs, as far as being toxic dogs, you'd have to be at like 3 or 4%. So really, 10 to 20 times the amount just to start to have some sort of psychoactive effect on the dog. But that little tiny amount is really important, and it's very helpful. Right. But there's, our product, if you go on our website right now and looked at the, bottom of our website and pull up our recent lab work, you'll see all of these compounds, terpenes and cannabinoids, that are all part of the medicinal component of our hemp extract.
And I love that you have that on there. You have, the information that you have, and then you talk about on your website about good lab work with zero contaminants. You talk about plants that are organically grown and no GMOs. I mean, I love that. I absolutely love that. Even the terpene profile, and you have a little disclaimer here about a burnt taste or complete absence of flavor can be a poor sign of extraction or worse. And the average person, again, I'm thinking of my mom. She's a senior citizen. She loves her dog. She has a pit bull and she has a Rottie, and they're seniors. And my mom would go on Google and buy, the first CBD oil that she found because she heard that it would help her beloved dogs. She means well, and she's trying to do what's best, but she is not armed with this information at all. And information is key. And your website, the transparency there is it just pulls you right in. It pulls you right in. It really does. It pulled me right in. And the fact that I got to talk with Nikki right away, you go on your website and you provide tools for potential customers that, why don't you chat with us for 15 minutes and we can find out what's going on with your dog? How old is your dog? How much does your dog weigh? And then we'll tell you what product would work best and how much to give. You don't get service like that, really. You don't. So Dr. HempDog is just,
So we've been doing this longer than pretty much everybody. We started early on, and unfortunately this industry was really complicated to start legally. One of the extra layers, by the way, with the transparency is that we're actually in Colorado. Colorado has the most red tape about producing cannabinoid products than any state in the United States. So our compliance in Colorado is much higher than any other state. And that's one of the advantages that we're able to for us to be here doing business, is that the state is saying everything's okay with us, and they're doing more work to manage that than anyone in the US. So we're particularly proud of that, and it's nice to be recognized. Also, you can go to the FAQs, CBD FAQs page on our website, and that will tell you all the basics, what
Hmm.
to look for. It's not, you'll notice our website's not intended to be a sales pitch. It's intended to educate and make it obvious. And if you decide you want to acquire the best cannabinoid product for your animals, CBD dominant cannabinoid product for animals, we're it. And
Yes.
we're not, if you get on the phone with us, our staff is not allowed to sell you anything. They're allowed to educate and make things obvious for you. And if you decide you want to go in that direction, that's up to you. But our staff's here to help animals, and every animal that we can help is a win.
Yes.
We're a customer service company that happens to sell the best hemp oil for animals in the world. And
And
it's
that is exactly how my journey went for me with Dr. HempDog. And again, this isn't I'm not trying to butter anybody up here. I am dead serious when I say I got on the phone with Nikki. I wasn't too sure. I looked at your website. We have used CBD oil products in the past for dogs. I wasn't completely sold on the products we were using. I didn't have the information that I needed, and I didn't want to waste money either. Our money comes in through donations. So I wanted to make sure that the money I was spending to help our senior German Shepherd residents, we were getting the most bang for our buck. And Nikki, again, she didn't try to sell me anything. It was really
we don't
very,
have
very
to.
informative.
We don't
No,
have
the
to.
product sells
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, we don't
It
have to. We have the best product.
yes, I believe that. I really do believe that. Um, so I wanted to back up a second here. I was talking about my mom, and I was talking about her dogs and how she has the best of intentions. And again, I know there are a lot of dog, cat owners out there that, of course, have the best of intentions and don't really know what to look for. Mark, can you touch base on some of the common misconceptions about cannabinoids?
Definitely. The first one I think I mentioned already is people think it makes the dog tired.
Hmm.
And that's just not true with a quality product. If the dog is experiencing any sort of relaxation or lethargy from a typical full spectrum product, not the one that you have Nona on, or specialty product that we can talk about later, but our original formula that's good for anxiety and inflammation and pain management. And the reason that works is because the endocannabinoid system, it's a homeostasis system. So, but the other thing is it's not going to make your dog tired. It's not going to get your dog high. Okay.
Hmm.
So this is probably the biggest one. The THC level has to be significantly higher than what's in a good quality full spectrum product. Legally, products are not allowed to be over 0.3% THC. For hemp products, CBD products to be sold nationally, and even inside of a states like California, there are a few products that have, there's human products that people will use that have more THC. Dogs are much more sensitive to cannabinoids than humans. And that's why cannabinoids work so well for dogs.
Hmm.
They have twice the receptors in their bodies than humans, cannabinoid receptors. It's fascinating.
Hmm.
And
I didn't know that.
humans, in order to get the same effect as dogs, actually need more THC. The THC is like the gas pedal that enhances all the cannabinoids. So humans need about 3 times as much THC by weight, meaning relative to the dosage, which the dosing is based on weight for humans or for animals. And humans need 100-pound human would need 3 times as much THC as a 100-pound dog in order to get the same effects from the cannabinoids.
Hmm.
So dogs are very sensitive to it, and it's so important not to get your dog intoxicated. They don't know what's going on. Do not blow marijuana smoke in your dog's face.
Yeah,
They don't know
absolutely.
what's going on. And ironically, the treatment for a dog, the number one emergency room visit in the United States is cannabis. Dogs consuming their humans' cannabis.
Oh, or edibles or something
It's the
like that.
number one. actually, it's funny. The edibles will get the dog higher than the flower.
Oh,
The
geez.
flower is actually not as psychoactive as the edibles. The edibles is 50 times more psychoactive than the flower. And the reason is because that's a little bit more of a science conversation, because that manufacturing, they've actually heated up the compounds, and that making, when the compounds are heated up, they're much stronger. It's the simplest way to say it. And, you know, as far as for, you know, being efficient with time, but we can jump into that more. You know, if people have questions about that too, they can contact us. We're happy to explain how that works.
Yeah.
So the number one emergency room visit in the United States is ataxia, which is THC toxicity for dogs. So the treatment for it is actually CBD. 100% best treatment. The reason is because the CBD and the THC work together. The CBD mitigates all the side effects of the THC. So when humans, a little human science for you, when humans are using cannabinoids and specifically THC for medicinal reasons, maybe they have cancer or they have, you know, inflammation in their head or something, and it helps them to navigate life, which is a lot of people, that's how it is. And they don't want to be high, but it gives them relief, and they have pain and chronic pain. And so, but THC on its own is not really medicine. It actually needs the CBD to become medicine. So these dispensaries
that's interesting.
are popping up all over the country, in these medical dispensaries. It's not medicine unless it's got CBD. And most of those medicines don't. So you actually have to add it. So CBD with the THC together is when it becomes the medicine. So the THC is a crucial part of this. If you ask any oncologist, like a cancer doctor, vet, that's hip to cannabinoids, they know that they have to use THC in order to get relief from inflammation and pain for the animal. Gotcha. And the biology on the studies that are going on about inflammation say exactly that. So you can go to our website. There's plenty of information in our science blog that will talk about this, and you can connect to all the latest research. If anyone wants a list of all of the research that ever been done on CBD for dogs, we have a list of 75 of those studies that we can give you access to. A lot of veterinarians have access to it because they understand. So we were talking a little earlier about some of your experiences and how you got here. Well, simultaneously, what was happening for me in 2015 was my dog was on a cocktail of painkillers and couldn't walk. His eyes were glossing over. He was losing hair, and he was dying in front of me. And he was on as much as they could give him without killing him for pain management. And he looked incredible. He looked like a young dog. He was super fit. His coat was great, but then it got really bad. And so we took him off. It's a story that would take a little longer for me to tell you, and I can tell you in person, John, if you're interested, like the 15-minute version of, you know, really the epiphany that me and Coool had, and how this really we got pulled into this. But really, what happened is I took him off all the things that was killing him, and I said, "I'm not going to do this to you, dude. This is not right. I mean, you're an incredible being and so intelligent, and this is killing you. If I have to help you around with a harness 100% of the time, so these toxic pharmaceuticals don't kill you, that's what I'll do." And within 10 days, we got on the path with cannabinoids. And 15 minutes after his first dose, he was up walking around better than he had been in 6 or 7 months. So now when you go, the vet sees this, says, "How did you do this? What happened?" Don, when you've seen so many animals at this point have the same experience where they were on a cocktail of painkillers and couldn't walk, and they come off of them and they go on our product at the right dose and they can get up and walk around. That's the experience I was having as you were calling in and wondering about CBD. That's our point of view on it. We're saying, how do we bring this to the world to make sure that they trust this information in a transparent and authentic way is the answer. And that's why we do it that way, because we understand it's too good to be true for a lot of these animals. But we have veterinarians that were going to put their dogs down. And as a last resort, they call us. They were skeptical about using cannabinoids. We have countless veterinarians that were going to put their own dogs down, that those dogs are thriving 2 years later. And I can't make up the story. We can't even publicize some of the testimonials we have because we're not allowed.
Oh, that seems so unfair. It really does. When you think
Especially
about
with
all the,
cancer.
it,
We can't publicize a lot of the cancer testimonials, but you know, we're chipping away at it. That's what we're here to do. We're here to trailblaze the industry and make sure that everybody trusts our products. They trust that they're going to work. Their veterinarian has access. I'm not a veterinarian, but a lot of veterinarians call us to ask us advice, and we need to gain their trust. And the way we do it is the same way we do it with the humans out there that want to help their animals. We show them all the info. We say, here's all the information, all the studies that have been done. This is our experience. This is why it works. And this is a worst case scenario side effects. There are none. So, you can give it a shot and see if it works. And the only time it doesn't work is when the human doesn't dose it correctly.
right.
For mobility, we have
For
that much
mobility.
success. For anxiety, it's almost as successful. However, we have another product for those really difficult cases that's new, and we can, like we said, we keep alluding to it. But hopefully that gives you, what are the other misconceptions about CBD? I think we went over most of them.
Well, there is one more. Some people are concerned whether it's legal or not.
Right. Okay. So before I answer that, just one more about dosing. Most people underdose. And if you underdose, you're not going to get results. It doesn't get your dog high. So the better thing is to dose properly or even a little extra so you see it works. Mm-hmm. And then you have an understanding of, wow, okay, we got some results. Cool. So there are a lot of people out there that say it needs to get set up in the system. The endocannabinoid system gets used to it. We see no evidence in the dogs for that. Some of the science points to that, but we literally see no evidence for it in all the animals. We follow up with most of the animals. Anyone who calls us directly, they get put in our system, and we ask them if we can follow up via text to make sure they're having success. And if they're not, we likely capture the information about their dog improperly, and they just need to have their dosage checked.
Right.
That's why we offer the customer service, to make sure that people are having success, because we understood early on the biggest problem we had, and the biggest misconception probably now that we're on it, is people dosing too low. Oh yeah, you should see my dog. They're loopy or they're high. No, they're not. That's not from this product. It's not. The science points to it. Our experiences point to it. And we've serviced tens of thousands of animals and that we have relationships and data on. So, and then the other thing is legally, it's not illegal. Just so you know, the Farm Bill of 2018 Farm Bill legalized it nationally in all 50 states, as long as it's below 0.3% THC, because the government recognizes that's a safe amount for all mammals. And that's naturally occurring in the plant. And you can ship it over state lines. Back in 2016 and 17, technically we were not allowed to ship it over state lines, like Missouri, Texas, Idaho. There are some other states that were having issues. But then I said, well, this dog can't walk. What are we going to do about that? So we comply with the law always. We have no red flags against us as a company, which a lot of people in the industry do. A lot of companies have red flags from the FDA, Department of Agriculture, especially the banks, because back in 2016, 2017, we couldn't get banking. So we had nowhere to put our money. So a lot of the companies just lied to the banks, and then they got caught, and then they're money launderers for life, personally. So we don't have any of those problems, thankfully. We knew we were going to be in this for the long haul. We very excited about the opportunity to be in this business and help a lot of animals. We thought we were the right people for the job. We had a really good knack for it, and we've demonstrated that was correct. We're here. We're not here to, a lot of companies made a lot of money, millions of dollars, just kind of in the spike of CBD being trendy. But we're not here for that. We're here to help as many dogs and to be around as long, if not longer than anyone, and be the leading cannabinoid sciences for animals company in the world. That's awesome. What we're here to do.
And I believe you're doing it. I really do. Marc, so we have alluded to a new product that you're pioneering. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'd love to. We're really happy, excited about this product. So there's another cannabinoid that does not occur in our normal products, our original formula products. Our original formula, if you go to our website, there's different potencies of our original formula, but it's all the same formula, and it works for pain and anxiety and seizures and cancer and inflammation. We're not able to really put that in writing on our website, but since it's a podcast, we can throw that out there. And we know there's tons of information and experiences to demonstrate that that's the case. The reason it works for all those things is because of the homeostasis of the endocannabinoid system. A lot of people are like, why does this work for anxiety? And why does it work for pain too? It's magic. It's black magic. It's, snake oil. No, it works because that's how the endocannabinoid system works. It works on pain and it works on homeostasis and mood. So, those things kind of can be connected, but the endocannabinoid system marries all those together. And that's why and if you're interested in how that works, there's a lot of good articles on our science blog that will, in layman's terms, explain that. So now that leads to our ultra behavior formula that we released in December, about 6 months ago. And it has all of the molecules of our original formula, but with one that is added in. And this one's called CBN. Now, if I pronounce it, it sounds just like if I pronounce CBD, which I don't want to confuse anyone. So it's the letters C, B as in boy, N. So cat, boy, Nancy, CBN. CBN is a relaxant cannabinoid, and it does occur a little bit in hemp. However, we 3 years ago knew we were really bummed because our product only worked for anxiety 90% of the time. We had friends and customers in our community that said, yeah, it works great for my dog, but it only gets him halfway there. Or better yet, my dog's so crazy, my dog needs help and needs to be on Prozac or Xanax or whatever. And that's upsetting to me because I know that the endocannabinoid system is a powerful thing for anxiety. And we knew at the time what different cannabinoids did. We just didn't have access to them. So 3 years ago, we started experimenting with that molecule with dogs who had been on our original formula for a couple of years. And we started getting incredibly positive results. And we knew this, but we were dosing it correctly. And so that led us to actually growing a strain of our hemp that actually would put out a little bit more of that molecule. We actually leave it in the field a little bit longer, and we were able to crossbreed our genetics with another one to get more out. And this is all legal and compliant. Some of the CBN, actually, the majority of the CBN you'll see in the marketplace for humans is actually not grown. They actually make it in a lab. Ours is grown. Very few companies are able to do this or have done it. I don't even know. There might be a couple I've heard of out there, but it's very new. We started this path about 3 years ago. 2 years ago, we were able to harvest that molecule out of that strain and isolate it. So we're able to now enhance our original formula with this relaxant molecule, CBN. And the results have been astounding in a good way. So we had this product produced last spring. We started using it in our community. The quality we're so proud of the fact that we're able to make this product. It's so high quality. All of our products, by the way, are human medical grade. They're all organic. All our plants are organically grown in Colorado, all from the same fields. A lot of companies out there are buying up hemp from different fields. They extract it and then they see what's in it and they blend it in order to get the results they're looking for, which isn't something that is going to be the highest quality. But obviously it's case by case, and you need to look at the lab work again to see what's in your product.
Yeah, if there is lab work.
Well, if there's no lab work, don't buy the product. I mean, it's very simple. You don't know, it's not a responsible company. So, especially with this, like, we don't want to be giving our dogs stuff that is not compliant, and we don't know if it's safe. I mean, it's so easy to get lab work. It's not that expensive. If you don't have it, that says something about your company. You're not paying attention to the industry and what's needed. You're not transparent. You're not building trust with your potential customer.
Well,
So important.
that's it. But I think that they're hoping that somebody just won't ask, or they don't know to ask. That maybe some potential customers don't know to ask that question. Hey, do you have scientific studies? Do you have third party lab work to back this up?
You shouldn't
So,
even have to ask. It should just be right there on the homepage of the website.
right.
Shouldn't be hard to find. And if it's confusing, it's another red flag. You need it to be straightforward and third party. Make sure their name, their company's name is in the actual product you're testing is right there. So there's no equivocation from what you need to make sure that there's transparent safety. So our ultra behavior formula was born about a year ago, where we actually started producing it, and we, instead of releasing it to the public, we said, this is a new product. No one in the world has anything like this yet. And it's not just the product and the molecules in it, it's the combination and the amount and how we dose it. Because just like anything else, if you dose too much or too little, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the correct amount. And so what we did is we initiated a clinical trial with a bunch of our veterinary community. So veterinarians from major veterinary universities around the United States and some scientists. And we actually have a university on it now. And Southern University in Louisiana is part of it now. And what we did is we started a clinical trial to show two things. Number one, safety. So we want to make sure it's safe and there's no issue there. And number two, effectiveness or efficacy, as you'll hear with when they talk about stuff from the FDA being released. They want to know what efficacy is. It just means that it works. And so we started in August with 20 dogs, and we took lab work on liver enzyme activity, making sure, a lot of people with senior dogs know that the vet will say, oh, your dog's on medication, pharmaceuticals, let's test their liver once every few months to make sure that the liver is not getting toxicity, because that will kill them. Some dogs have an easier time than others. So what we did is we made sure the dogs weren't on anything that was toxic, and we put them on this product. We took a prior blood work on their liver enzyme activity, and then every 3 months we take liver enzyme activity blood work on the dogs. And once we were 3 months in, we had all this evidence of dogs who had been on it 12 weeks with no toxic spike in their liver. And most of them actually got better, because some of them had been on pharmaceuticals prior, and slowly but surely their body's working out the toxins that were created there. And now, so we know it's safe, but the results, as far as if it works, were unbelievably successful.
Mm-hmm.
Prozac is prescribed to 10 million animals that have a prescription to use them on a daily basis in the United States. Most of them are cats and dogs. Most of them are cats. Oh, sorry, most of them are dogs. Is what I meant. So there's millions and millions and millions of dogs in the United States on Prozac. I'm sure everyone listening knows a dog that has been given Prozac before or has heard about one.
Mm-hmm.
And Prozac is very toxic biologically to a dog, to the liver and kidneys. And it doesn't necessarily bring out the best version of their personality, because it really just blocks things in their brain, natural processes. And it is toxic to them physically. And I've never seen a dog that really did their best on Prozac. I mean, that's obviously subjective, but I'm sure there's other people out there that would like to, talk about that and have some insight that might be different. But we've seen Prozac used for dogs who have neuropathy, and they have this it's a combo of mental and physical. They have anxiety because they have deep pain. And it's very common to see, whether it's diagnosed, that's not our department, but we have a lot of dogs that we know that come to us and they say, yeah, my dog is on Prozac because it has neuropathy and it causes anxiety. We have tons of them. And so that's a combo of physical and mental there. And so this product, it's basically a relaxant. What we've seen in our now 9 months of study, we have 30 dogs in the study now. What we've seen is the results we've gotten back from these dogs and their humans and the vets have said overwhelmingly works better than anything they've ever used. Replaces Prozac, works much better. No side effects, brings out the best version of the dog's personality. Now, there is one caveat, and I don't want people to get too excited out of the gate on this if this is something they're interested in, because it's a tool.
Right.
It's not a cure-all, it's a tool. And what we will do is it will relax your dog enough to take the edge off where your dog will look you in the eye and you can work with your dog, or your trainer can work with your dog. I would prefer it's you that works with your dog, because that's where you're going to get the best results if the trainer shows you how to work with your dog, as well as working with your dog to establish this baseline of communication. But it's a tool that helps open up the subconscious of the dog in a calming way. The dog now is sitting there. It doesn't have this subconscious anxiety where it's nervous all the time. It can actually sit. And eventually, after maybe a couple hours, a couple minutes, or a couple weeks, the dog will say, wow, I actually feel pretty good. Why was I acting all crazy and anxiety laden all this time? We notice with our products, both of our products, our original formula and our ultra behavior formula, that after a couple weeks or a couple months, a lot of the animals don't need to use it as much, or they can lower the dose, because now the dog has become more engaged with communication around the human, because it's not worrying about this anxiety. It may have developed from trauma when it was younger, or it may have from where it fits in the pack, or it's new. The other thing this ultra behavior formula does, and it works really quickly, we have veterinarians using it for dogs that they want to do acupuncture on, that before the dog wasn't calm enough to use to sit for acupuncture. They're now able to do acupuncture on dogs because the dog will relax enough.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say that right there is key for a dog, regardless of the breed, with degenerative myelopathy, because many do get acupuncture and hydrotherapy. They're scared to lay on the floor to get the therapy. They're scared to get in the tanks of water to get the therapy. Even laser therapy. We've taken our seniors to have those procedures done and have given them CBD oil prior to those treatments, just to help them stay calm while they're getting those procedures done. Because you said it before, they don't know what's going on. Why am I being stuffed in this tank with water? I don't know.
To them. Yeah, you can't explain it to them.
So
I mean, some of them you can, but that's super rare, right?
Yeah. And the ultra behavioral formula. Now I think the first shipment of Dr. HempDog that we received was the original formula for Nona, for her anxiety. And I recall Nikki saying, wait another month, we're going to have this really awesome product that's going to be more beneficial to Nona. And we got it. We got the first bottle, and we haven't looked back since. Nona has reached the point now where she's in a better place mentally. I can direct her where before I just couldn't. So one of the big things that she does is she targets Prince, who is a very large male German Shepherd that we have here that has degenerative myelopathy. So he has mobility issues. And for whatever the reason, Nona, who's not even twice his size, she'll bite him in the butt. When she's stressed and nervous, she focuses on him. She herds him like he's cattle, and she's nipping him in the butt. Well, of course, he doesn't like that. And we've even had to have surgery on her eyelid because he turned around and bit her. She bit him first, and he bit her back, and then he ripped her eyelid. So it was just a big fiasco. But Dr. HempDog, the ultra behavior formula, is the go-to tool that we use to help Nona, so we can help redirect her in a positive manner.
And I just want to add to that too, because I love that you said that. That's why we created it, exactly what you just said. But a couple of things. One is, for anyone out there who's wondering, that's listening to this and wondering how it can help their dog, we have the best in class. Our full spectrum original formula is the best in class. And it works great. And it works for anxiety. And most of the anxiety cases out there, it will really help. This ultra behavior formula is stronger.
Mhm.
That's the best way. And it leverages other molecules that are not psychoactive, that allow for a stronger experience for animals that need it, which means, so for acupuncture, laser, great. Also teeth brushing.
Mhm.
I don't want to sedate my dog for teeth brushing. And with this product, if you dose it right, which just meaning giving a good dose of it, a proper dose of it, a lot of dogs were getting messages now. My dog, they don't need to sedate my dog for teeth brushing. My dog, the clinic, the vet clinic is mesmerized, and the vet clinic's calling us saying, "What are you giving this dog that's working this well?" And then the best part of this, along these lines, Don, post op.
Mhm.
What you do is you have a dog that got their ACL replaced, and it's a Jack Russell, runs around all the time, 4 years old, tore its ACL because it's overactive or, it's gotten that situation. Now we got to keep the dog calm for 2 weeks so we don't re-tear the ACL, right?
Right.
Our ultra behavior formula is extraordinarily good for that.
Mhm.
So for anyone out there that's got a dog that may, that's younger, that may have surgery, that's a little crazy, and you're afraid that the dog might hurt themselves until they, the vet said, hey, for 2 weeks, you got to keep this dog not running. Well, this product's exceptional for that. It works really well for it if you dose it right. If you have questions around that, please reach out to us so we can, we can set you up for success.
Yes, and I'm going to be sure to include all that information, but I just wanted to kind of piggyback on that and mention that it's also beneficial too for dogs with degenerative myelopathy. As we were talking before we started recording, dogs with degenerative myelopathy, they become prisoners in their own bodies, and they know it. They're painfully aware that their body is failing them and that they can't move the way that they once did. They feel vulnerable, just generally in a bad frame of mind. Not all the time, but oftentimes. And the
Especially
ultra,
the shepherds,
yeah,
they overthink a lot of things and they get nervous and they whine
that's right.
yeah, totally.
They're vocal. They are
Totally,
vocal.
totally, totally. I speak
Yeah.
their language, so
Yeah.
sometimes I whine that way too.
But the ultra behavioral formula helps squash that anxiety. Like the prince, he exhibits that sometimes. That just the last couple of days, for instance, he was having trouble getting up off of his bed. Um, he has his good days and his bad days. So, of course, when he's struggling to get up off of his bed, he can get rather cantankerous. He doesn't want the other dogs walking near him, even looking at him the wrong way. He just
Right?
doesn't
Yeah,
want
totally.
that.
Because he's vulnerable. He's
He is
vulnerable.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this ultra behavioral formula certainly does take the edge off the anxiety that he's exhibiting.
And really, the key piece of information that needs to be added here is people are asking, I have a 13-year-old dog, maybe it doesn't have a lot of anxiety, but it sounds like it's really good for an older dog. So, what I want people to know, the way it's good for an older dog in that case is if a dog does have anxiety and they're older, it can be very helpful and it'll also work for pain. However, if we have a senior dog that's 13 that we're trying to uplift and give more energy to because they're a little more lethargic just because they're older and they don't have anxiety, our original formula is really the one to use,
Mhm.
because it won't be as relaxing. And we don't want to relax a senior dog unless they need it. So sometimes people say, why has my dog developed anxiety later in life? When they're old, they're seniors. Well, usually it's because they've got pain somewhere
That's right.
that's they're
Mhm.
expressing it as anxiety because they can't just, speak English to you and say, hey, I've got this pain in my lower back. Can you work on it for me? And by the way, massage, if you ever seen your dog, just a little plug, massage your dog.
Oh,
You
yeah.
talk to your dog where, especially in the lower back, get your little fingers in there in right outside the spinal cord and
Mhm.
just see where your dog likes you to kind of go in. And if you can really help loosen up that lower back area, which any dog that's got degenerative myelopathy, they have that. So if you can get in there and loosen that up, or at least it's going to feel good for them, but also it could help loosen them up a little bit. So the myelopathy doesn't feel as, significant.
Right,
It
right.
takes a lot, and there's all sorts of other things you can do. And, we have a senior dog biohacking guide basically on our website, which is, the reason we got in this business is because of our senior dogs and helping them have live a longer, more successful, comfortable life, which we've demonstrated. That's why we're so dedicated to what we do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in that situation, it's, we do have a guide, a senior dog, how to navigate arthritis naturally. And I know you have a lot of resources too, but we want to help dogs, and that's what we lead with. Everything else falls into place.
It does. It does. And we do use the regular formula as well. We have Savvy on it. We have Atticus on it. We have Brandy on it. I mean, they're seniors. What senior dog honestly doesn't have some form of arthritis?
They all have it, especially the big ones have it worse.
Especially,
they
right.
all have it. And you want to start, really beginning of life, but 7 or 8 years old is when you start thinking about joint supplements in a natural routine that can keep them going. There's like I said, we have a guide on our website that's really comprehensive that we wrote, that we really encourage people to get access to. But also, I know Woody's Place has resources too, and all of these resources can be beneficial. And there's a natural way,
and they're free.
You can keep. They're free, and there's a natural way you can keep them going. But that's the whole thing. Senior dogs don't have to die so young.
No, and they don't have to be so uncomfortable while they're living. And you said it yourself about the massage. And I'm going to go a step further. Even the beds they lay on. If you get down on the floor and you lay on your dog's bed and you can feel the floor with your elbows and your knees through that bed, that's a crappy bed. Throw it out. Get yourself a big Barker dog bed. We love those. They're orthopedic. It's great for large dogs to keep them comfortable. I mean, I'll put 2 together and I'll lay on the floor with them myself with a dog or 2 because they feel that good. Or heating pads. There are doggy heating pads. They help too.
And it's also a great way, to your point, to let the dog know you recognize where their pain might be. Because once you start putting your hands on them, they're like, oh yeah, that spot. They're like, oh, mom knows where it hurts.
Especially if they snap at you,
well, that's why you go, they're all individuals, personalities. But if you go really softly and lightly, what I usually do is I just take my hand and hover it over the lower back, and I don't even touch them. And I just feel if there's a lot of heat coming off of it. And then I look at the dog and I say, hey, what do you think? And I'm holding my hand and they can feel my energy. And they usually are like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then I touch them, and then I slowly, gently put my tips of my fingers in these spots, and I see their face. And I don't go too light. All right, I go light, and I don't go too aggressively at first, and I just build the trust to work in that spot. And you can they'll talk to you, right? I mean, they'll tell you.
Sounds like Reiki massage.
I think every time I take a senior dog and I put my hand over their lower back, a dog that's got, mobility issues, I can feel heat myself there. And it's, they all get it. The lower back, the spinal cord gets pinched, the osteophytes pinch it. It's, the doctors don't know why, but
I have my theories on why. Of course, even humans, our joints start to wear out and whatnot. But I'm a big fanatic about their diet. As you know, if you follow on social media, I home cook for these dogs all the time. And of course, it's got to be nutritionally balanced, but definitely real food, please.
When you dose our product, dose it in the food. It absorbs better and it works better with fat. There's MCT coconut oil as the we dilute it, which allows you to be able to taste the product and the purity of the product, which is really great. But that fat actually helps the cannabinoids absorb into the body better. For the first 5 years of this was legal, back from 2015 to 2019, the science out there was saying that if you put it in their mouth directly, it works faster and better. We did not see that with the dogs that were in front of us. We saw it dosed better in the stomach. It worked better and longer for mobility issues in the stomach.
Yeah.
For seizures and to work quickly, yes, put it right in their mouth. But for maintenance, even for seizures, you put it right in their food. And now the science came back and said it's actually the opposite. If you put it through their stomach and their food, it works better.
I
And that's the
actually
science
remember
now.
that. I actually remember that saying, don't put it in their food years back.
And we were saying that's wrong because we actually have seen thousands of dogs that have done better putting it in their food. Plus, it's a lot easier to dose them that way.
Well, it is.
Or you can just put it on a treat too. If you just take their favorite treat or whatever, there's a lot of ways, you can do it. And if you need any tips on how to dose your dog, let us know. We know how to dose any dog, no problem. But it's good to know. It's good to know to put it in the food. I just wanted to say that.
Absolutely. Here at Woody's place, we have a little card on who gets what and how much of it. And what you just said, it goes right in their dog food bowl, either once or twice a day, whatever, depending on whenever they're supposed to get it. And they don't know any different. Now, a little side note here, I personally stand there and watch and make sure that, let's say I put Savvy's CBD oil in her bowl. I personally stand there and watch and make sure that particular dog is eating her food and no one else's, so that they're not getting twice as much, or, somebody else is getting somebody else's dose. So it's important to watch and make sure that they eat it if you're going to put it in their food like that.
Aren't they lucky that they've got you?
I hope they know that. I mean, I'm like you.
They know. You got a bunch of German Shepherds roaming around there. They know.
For years.
I'm just wondering who they're. I'm just wondering where their honorary sheriff's badges come from.
I have to ask you a question now. I'm just backing up a little bit here, actually, all the way to the beginning. I want to ask you, Mark, did your dog Coool? I could tell he was a lab because obviously he's your logo, correct? Is Coool your logo? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you went down this journey with Coool, and you speak so passionately about him and that journey. I'm wondering, did Coool and that journey change the trajectory of your life?
Oh yeah, of course, 100%. Like no doubt. Actually, trajectory is probably not a powerful enough word. To have a relationship with another species, and I'm saying this from a science point of view, that profound and that spiritual. Coool. We had it was like ESP almost with him. It was head nods and hand signals that he knew that he didn't even have to teach him. He'd just pick up on it. We just were together. We were connected, and anyone that knew him is not surprised at the journey because he's such a special guy. Mm-hmm. And, his sacrifice and just pain in that experience has helped so many animals now, because people say, well, how do you know this is true? Well, because at the beginning of this whole industry, we were doing it, and that's how. And everybody was contacting us from our network, our personal network around the country. Hey, I have a dog just like Coool. What do I do? And that's how Dr. HempDog started. I actually am in a few other businesses, and I didn't have time to get into this business. And then I realized that I had to, because animals needed me. And Coool was alive when we founded the business, and him and I basically co-founded the business together. So we're co-founders, and he's just as big a part of it as me at the beginning. As far as, anywhere we went, people say, oh my God, he looks great. How old is he? Oh, wow. And I can tell he's limping. What's his story? And yeah, a couple of years ago, they were getting ready to put him down, or they were telling us to put him down. And now he's thriving. Yeah, he looks incredible. I mean, if you saw him, he didn't even pass from old age. I thought, if you'd asked me 2 weeks before he passed, at that point, how long he was going to live, I'd say at least 2 more years. He was so healthy. And so the vet thought so too, but there was a situation that popped up that it was just kind of like just a special situation that popped up, and it's just very unbelievable. But, he served his time, and he gave to the canine community, and,
he sure did. He sure did, because we are all benefiting our dogs and the canine community, as you said, at large, are all benefiting from him and the journey you took with him. And I personally am very grateful to you, to Coool, to
Mm.
Nikki, to your whole organization. I really am. And I just sound like I'm gushing here, but I really am, because that is how strongly I feel about Dr. Hemp Dog and the wonderful people behind the organization, such as yourself, who are really thinking of our dogs first. And I feel like that's what you are. I feel like, of course, you need to make money. There's no doubt about that. But I truly believe that you are really investing all this time and scientific studies and whatnot, because you truly are here to benefit our dogs. And I'm grateful to you, Mark. I really am.
Well, I'm grateful to you for what you do as well. And we get to do this. We get to wake up every morning and look at these dogs that we've helped. We have one dog in Connecticut right now who's a Doberman Pinscher, 4 years old. And we got a testimonial from yesterday who's on our ultra behavior formula. And the testimonial basically said, we've tried everything: Prozac, Xanax, every single money that we can spend on the vets, any trainer, helper, diet, exercise, everything. And they happen to get a bottle of our ultra behavior formula as a gift from someone for this dog. And they've been using it for 3 weeks now. And the whole dog's life has changed. 4 years they've been trying to wrangle this dog in, and they started using our ultra behavior formula. And this person was on Facebook yesterday, Instagram, they emailed us this morning. I mean, you can't write that. We couldn't write this ourselves. And we don't even know this person. And they just out of nowhere, thank you so much. You changed my life, my dog's life. And that there's nothing better than that. You're changing Nona's and Prince's life for the better, and your whole crew there is just, our motto is we do this for them. We know we run a responsible business. It feels like a philanthropy, but we run a responsible business. We're good business people, but we're also very fair. We're very honest. We're very authentic. We were in business before pretty much all of our competitors. We just didn't want to break the law at the time to expand.
Yeah.
We knew we'd be in it for a long time. And we said, look, we have an incredible network. We're going to keep building that. And eventually things will get easier. And at that point, we'll continue to keep growing. And we're going to just dog by animal. We do help horses, birds and cats in other animals too. They all have an endocannabinoid system. So if anyone's interested in any other sort of animals, just let us know and we can give you advice. Horses and rabbits, and they're a little sensitive. So we dose them a little differently. Cats are different than, as far as mentally, than dogs. So there's other things you gotta have to look for. But we have all those animals. We have major success with all of those animals. So we just take it day by day. Our motto is we do this for them, which is what you do.
Yeah.
And what you guys do. And we know if we do the right thing and we're responsible and run a responsible company, we do have a new senior product coming out.
Yeah, I'm excited
in about a month.
This. I'm so excited.
I can't tell really. We can't really talk about it yet. But if you do have a senior dog that needs help, contact us, because we have products that can help. But we do have kind of a next generation of anti-inflammatory product coming out. We made it for.
I'm going to be calling in 30 days. Where is it, Mark?
We made it for the end of life animals. So like if Coool is around at 14 years old, this is the formula that I would have made for him. We couldn't make this up until recently, and no one can. We got in early, so we have great relationships, and we've been able to be ahead, and we're going to continue to trailblaze the industry. But this product that we're coming out for senior dogs for mobility and pain and inflammation, I'm particularly proud of. Our ultra behavior formula is, we couldn't be more pleased with how well that works, and it's still growing. So we know that product's going to continue to gain following. We're just so happy that we get the feedback from our customers that say thank you so much. That's really why we do it. And It's just
Right.
so wonderful. It's just incredible to be able to wake up every morning and say, wow, look at all these cool testimonials that we got from dogs we've never met, I've never met, and people I've never met. And we've changed these animals' lives and the humans' lives for the better. And
Right.
everyone's happier, and they're more an authentic version of themselves. They're not drugged. They're not. One of the things with the ultra behavior formula we figured out is that if you use Prozac, it doesn't work as well. And the reason is because Prozac is blocking some of these natural systems that the endocannabinoid system is actually improving. So the Prozac's blocking it, where our product is improving, so they can't work together. So we now tell people, hey, if you're going to use pharmaceuticals, you should know that our product works better when you're not using those pharmaceuticals for anxiety. And our
That's good
study
to
has
know.
proven that. And I'm talking about mental anxiety medication. I'm not talking about like painkillers. I mean, listen, if your dog's on a painkiller from the vet, that's between you and your vet and your dog. I'm not a vet. We're not vets. We can recommend a good vet to you in your area, or we can tell you how to find one or what to look for. But you should always talk to your vet when you make a change. We're not scientists, but we know the science really, really, really well. As a matter of fact, we're trailblazing the science. So, we're going to continue to be at the front of the industry. So, just be conscious of that. Our product for mobility and inflammation and pain relief for senior dogs, for something that you can use every day, there's nothing that's proven to be more effective or less invasive to a dog than our product, or a good quality full spectrum CBD product. There's just no. The science is there. It demonstrates it. And it's also tangible. You can see it yourself. If you have dogs around you that are all in all these different situations, it's like clockwork. It's all, every time it's the same thing, especially with the mobility and the pain relief and the senior dog arthritis, especially. And we're just flabbergasted that we get to be a part of these animals' lives and delivering something that really is the best that they could get, because that's the feedback we get. So we're blessed to be able to get to do that.
You are. So, Marc, on that note, where can people find you online? If someone wanted to speak with your customer service, they're very interested in your product, where can they find you online?
Great. So it's easy to find us. drhempdog.com, and it's spelled drhempdog.com. And you can also go to our Instagram, which is spelled the same, just drhempdog. That will connect you through as well. We have a lot of testimonials on there. There's tons of testimonials on our website. There's tons of information. If you are curious and you're not convinced and you want to look at actual science, that we link to all of the science through our science blog. There's really awesome articles that our science team has actually written that we are very proud of, and we hope you enjoy, because they're just for free, and we want to educate because we want dogs to be successful. If you do, you can easily schedule a free 15-minute call on our website. On your phone or computer. We highly recommend it. Super simple to do. Take you less than 30 seconds. What we do is we like to jump on the phone with you real quick to capture all the information about your animal's ailment, explain how the endocannabinoid system works, recommend best dosing practices for your dog's or animal's particular situation, and then we give you a chance to answer all your questions in one shot with somebody who's an expert. Anyone that you're going to get on our staff is going to be as educated as me about this stuff.
Yes, and that is true.
It's true.
We're
very proud of that.
I've called, so I know that is very accurate.
And they're very cool and nice. That people are,
they follow up. I even get a follow-up call if we change a dose or for one of the dogs. Somebody will call me like 10 days later to follow
really?
up. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice of them. Well, what we do is, if you decide to acquire a product, which our team, you can buy it directly from us. We have pet stores and veterinarians that have it all over the country as well. So if you have a particular area and you want to see if you can just buy it retail, just call us and we'll tell you where to go. But what we'll do is, if you decide to get it, our team will follow up with you via text message 7 days after you started using it to make sure you're having success. If you're not having success, we've likely captured the information about how to dose it for your particular dog situation and properly. We'll update it, and we'll give you, make sure the dosing is correct. And it's pretty much a system that we see the same stuff every time. And we've just gotten really good at it. We have data on tens of thousands of animals in our database that we have relationships with over the years, and a lot of them are around. Some were, they went through their cycle and they had really good lives because especially the last part of their life was really comfortable because of our product. So, but we'll follow up to make sure it's working, and if it's not working, we'll just say, okay, well, there's usually a reason why, and then we will make sure you have the info. And then typically in that situation, we've got success. Rarely do we have issues, but we'll work with you. We'll make sure that, our team is highly educated. We all have animals. We all speak canine. We've all dealt with every issue. Our whole staff has dealt with caring for dogs that have needs. So we're very compassionate to that. We're here to help. Even if you don't buy the product, that's not, the purpose of what we offer. We offer, we want to make the dog have access to whatever's going to help them live comfortably and successfully and happily. And whatever we can do to help, that's our number one thing. That's what we lead with. And we happen to sell a lot of product, and that's fine. So if anyone's in financial dire straits, or they need, if they need a sponsorship, or they have something that they need and they need help and we can help them, please reach out to us. Your dog doesn't know what money is. And we do sponsor some dogs here and there, and we're happy to help.
You sponsor Woody's Place.
Well,
you sent us free product.
How many dogs do we have on your product there, or on our product there?
5.
Nice. And would you say that their lives are more comfortable now because of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. Particularly Nona and Prince, for sure, because they have the biggest personalities. So if something's not going great for them, you really know it. And yes, definitely for those two, particularly Nona, she's got the biggest personality. But yes,
this is a great thing for people to know, especially about degenerative myelopathy. You're gonna see when if their dog is using our product for maintenance, for mobility every day, for comfort, and they're 12 years old and it helps them significantly, that's awesome. But as they get older, we can increase the dose depending on their situation. So a lot of times we'll have great results at 12 years old. And when they hit 13, we may want to up the dose a little bit because maybe the arthritis is a little bit more aggressive now. Right. Because that's what happens. So people should understand that another reason we get on the phone with you is we'll say, hey, your dog doesn't need a bigger dose right now. They need a small dose, and the humans will see, wow, that made such a difference, which is typical. And then we'll say, yeah, in a year when they need more help, we have got some room to go. And people will ask, like, hey, what if I gave my dog 5 times the amount that they need? Well, there's a point of diminishing returns when you don't need that much. It's not going to do anything extra. If you have an isolate CBD, in that case, that situation calls for it because it doesn't really work until you get a super high dose there. And at the same time, and at that point, it's not working as well as our product anyways. But, just so people know that this is something that works in conjunction with our natural systems, and there's proper ways to dose it. And that's why we make ourselves available to make sure your dog is set up for maximum success.
Awesome. All right, Marc, this has absolutely been fantastic. I really appreciate you coming on here. You are just a plethora of information, and I can't wait for our listeners to hear this and get your product more exposure. I truly am a believer, and I just want to thank you for everything that you do and for coming on here today.
It's my pleasure, and I really love what you guys do.
Thank you.
Dr. HempDog, we talk about you guys because we see you on Instagram and some of your other social platforms. And I just wish that we could visit sometime because we love what you guys are doing. And I love the information that you're putting out there for the community. You have incredible resources and information that you're sharing.
Thank you. Well, I mean, it's not really certain just yet, but down the road, maybe in the next couple of years, we are actually looking to move the sanctuary either to Colorado or Wyoming. So we might be neighbors. Who knows?
What?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yes.
Well,
We've been
that's
talking about it.
that's our spot. I mean, we're here in the Rockies,
Yes.
so
Well, we're in the
we
Poconos, but I think we're going to trade this mountain range in for the Rockies.
well, there's less ticks out here,
Yeah,
so
that would be
that's
great.
nice. And
That
the
would be
dry
great.
air is nice, and
Yes, and sun. Sun's always good.
the sun is good. But
Yes.
what you guys are doing is unbelievably
Thank you.
amazing,
And same
and
with you. Likewise.
I'm looking forward to being at Woody's, whether it's on the East Coast or in the Rockies at some point, to hang out with everybody. And
Awesome.
we're always here. Anything you need, please don't hesitate to let us know. And whatever we can do to help, we love it. We love the opportunity to help anyone, any senior animal, or any dog for that matter, or any animal for that matter. If you think there's something we can do to help, don't hesitate to reach out. We're here. We're not trying to take money from you. We're trying to help. And if we can help through our product, great. We take care of returning customers. We offer like ongoing discounts and all sorts of stuff to make it so it's easy for the human involved to set their dog up for success. And if you have feedback or ideas for us, please let us know too.
We will.
We want to make the world a better place, especially
Thank
for
you,
these
Mark.
our canine friends here.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Definitely my pleasure, Don. You have a wonderful day.
You
Take
too.
care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.